Hi, my name is Mai, and today I'll be presenting my case study on the website for the fictional airborne airlines, which I completed for my UI design course with RMIT. In the project's design brief, Airborne was described as an ultra-comfortable and economical airline. For this, I was given 4 lo-fi templates of the home, deals, experiences, and help pages to build upon. The first step was to create a mood board, which I began by brainstorming words such as Australian, warmth, freedom, and speaking the language of the people. So of course, this cockatoo picture served as my design's core inspiration. With blues symbolizing relaxation and dependability, complemented by the warmth and playfulness of the yellow gold, I felt that these primary colors embodied Airborne's personality. Overall, I aim to keep my design modern and minimal in line with the UI trends. So I chose to have simple buttons and sans serif fonts with rounded edges. Next, I created this UI flow that mapped out the blueprint of my design. Originally, I had just 4 pathways based on the lo-fi templates, but this expanded as my project progressed. And for this, I mainly had the homepage demonstrating the full UI stack of ideal, loading, partial, empty, and error states. I began developing my prototype by creating 4 unique iterations of the homepage on Figma, which I combined for a design that used each of their best aspects. From this first design, I took the minimal buttons and experiences list, as its layout allowed users to read and view pictures simultaneously. From the third one, I used the flight search and details section as they effectively used space and had a good hierarchy of information. Finally, I used the 4th design's menu bar as the feedback I received showed that people liked its use of color. And here is the first version of my component library, where I applied various design principles. For example, I used the Gestalt principle of proximity when building the cards to demonstrate that the items placed closer together were related to each other. And upon receiving mentor feedback, I increased the button sizes in width and height so that they stretch to the length of text fields. And this helped to make my design more consistent and accessible to users. So here's my mid-fidelity prototype of my homepage, where I applied a mobile-first approach. This helped me to think critically about where and how to include information logically without removing anything important. Once this was created, I was able to make my tablet and desktop versions, through which I only really had to make size and layout adjustments. Another key decision I made was to apply my logo's cockatoos throughout the website, which I designed with the Fibonacci spiral and my original mood board in mind. From there, I animated it for my loading and error states to add an element of fun to these pages. My third key decision was to have a consistent title card throughout the website. I created 8 iterations for this, experimenting with shapes, text placements, and imagery. After sharing these with others for feedback, I chose to go with this design. So contrasting a darkened picture with a large white title over it helped users know straight away what page they were on while saving space. This also allowed for items such as this FAQ box to be layered over top, which is a popular UI trend in 2020. Likewise, adding a shadow to these components added a sense of neumorphism, in which these elements mimic real-life objects. So by repeating this across the 55 pages I made, I aimed to create a format that was easy to understand and to familiarize oneself with the Airborne website. I then conducted 4 user tests where I asked my participants to complete a series of tasks. These users were all of different ages and had different levels of familiarity with booking flights online, so this allowed for a good range of perspectives. I then used Miro to synthesize my insights and to identify actionable steps to refine my prototype. The following here especially stood out as most or all of my participants raised these issues. The experiences section was a key problem area, with many participants finding its title ambiguous. Rather than about the airline itself, many related this to destination-related experiences such as snorkeling or golfing. I therefore changed it to the airborne experience, which more clearly expressed this section's purpose whilst highlighting the brand's point of difference in the market. An even bigger issue raised about this section was how the homepage subtopics of delicious foods, extra comfort, and award-winning staff weren't listed on the actual experiences page. This wasn't a simple solution of just adding them, as this would have clashed with the broader at the airport and on the plane categories. So my decision was to restructure the page by dividing it into these two broader categories, with their respective subtopics listed under them. And I did this using the same list component as the homepage to create consistency and to communicate ideas easily. Regarding the managed booking feature, all of my participants found this hard to locate as it was buried at the bottom of the help page. Most then stated that it should have its own page, especially as this was likely the second most common task users would come to the website for. So that's what I did, adding it to the menu and also adding a short description of what users could expect in this section. On the flight selection stage of the booking process, most participants didn't know how to choose an option. It was often the case that they confused it for the flight details button instead of clicking on the card itself. So for this, I added an explicit select button in the corner of the flight card, therefore using up the previously empty space. Finally, many participants identified how typically older users who are unfamiliar with QR codes would not know what to do with the one included on the boarding pass. To alleviate this pain point, I added instructions to show the code when checking in at the airport or boarding at the gates. Overall, I believe my project demonstrated the importance of atomic design principles, through its changes to entire pages or even the atomic level, such as buttons or colors, could significantly influence the success of a design. By applying these insights, the overall feedback I received was that this prototype was straightforward and intuitive for a wide range of users. The final prototype can be accessed through both my assignment submission and the link below, and here you can find out more about the other ways I refined it. Thank you for watching.